Okay, so again, so the next week we'll be working on this assignment through for sure Tuesday anyway. Chapter 6 is style sheets. I'm not really going to go through those. You can go on your own if you want to through it, but I think you've done a little bit of it. You understand how to change the paragraph. We'll go into InDesign. The paragraph or the character panel and the paragraph panel. So you can set up some improved efficiencies in creating character styles and paragraph styles. And I feel like that's maybe, once you work with this a whole bunch, the next step to improve your efficiency, but not necessary to know right today for what we're doing. So just be aware that you can improve your efficiencies. The based on feature, so on an enter key, I can turn on another style. If I'm using style XYZ and I move on, it'll automatically go to style QTZ, something like that, whatever I want to call it. So that's where just upon an enter key or based on my previous style, it can just keep formatting things really quickly. So it's an improved efficiency, but again, I think for now, maybe not necessary for moving on with projects. So I'll turn on my little hover cam here so you can see the color chapter. So this is chapter 8 in your textbook, and it's just some reminders really about color. I feel like we've talked about color quite a bit already. So the CMYK, so there's your cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and that's an exact. So for this particular image, that's the representation you would have. RGB color, again, that's your monitor. Process versus spot color, we talked about that. For process would be the CMYK. Spot color might be a specific hexadecimal code such as University Maroon, and everything, it could be a one color job with that particular spot color, or two color, black and that spot color. I think you've been on the tools, you know, as far as the color boxes. Do you feel pretty comfortable with that? The fill color and the stroke color, and then the color swatches where you can choose colors. The other day we added a purple color. Remember, you can go to the either spot or process and get the Pantone. Remember all those Pantone color, coded, uncoded, all sorts of things. You can get like gold color print, so that like a metallic, there's all sorts of cool prints that you can get, print tones and colors, but you have to have the equipment to do it. And we also added or understood how to add a tint. Remember, that's your tint slider, and then also gradients, so like a two-tone. So kind of went through that. Coloring an object, I mean, you kind of know how to do that already. We also used pictures inside type. You know how to use your color picker, add color to shapes. We did that the other day. We've used the color picker in Photoshop and in this program, so very similar. There's your color swatches panel. You're familiar with that. We worked on that. Remember, you use that little icon right there to add other swatches or add a tint or a gradient. We looked at the spot process, CMYK, adding to us, you know, color, a swatch color to your panel. Using existing, adding. So, yeah, don't use registration, basically. Black is black. Rich black is more than black, and there's a rich black color, so it's when you print a black and it doesn't come out really clean and crisp and dark, so there is actually a rich black. None is not white, it's the absence of color, so just be sure that you know none is the absence, and then paper actually is white, and I'm sure you've probably figured that already. So when to create a rich black, there's kind of a little example here, rich black versus, and you can see that's kind of a charcoaly color, so you can see the star and the tail on there. We know the eyedropper tool, changing colors of type, we know how to do that. And we did, so that was kind of the last thing we did, is the dash tool and the gap, and we can have a dash color and a gap color. And gradients, we worked with gradients a little bit. You can use gradients. Remember, we had a radial that we used versus linear, so that's kind of an example. This one's more example of linear. A couple of radial gradients there. So that's it. Done. So that was quick. So on your assignment, I'll go ahead and close the hover cam. So we want to go to InDesign, or I mean to Moodle, sorry about that. And by the way, I've got just a couple if you're interested in a little bit more or some specifics with color. I added just the basics there. So we're going to be creating, it's a 15-point assignment, and you'll work a couple of days on it. So today in class and then Tuesday in class. And it's a real estate fact sheet. So on Moodle, let's go ahead and start with what a fact sheet is. And again, I'll open that one up. So you create a fact sheet when your clients ask the same questions on the same topic repeatedly. So that's a good use for a fact sheet. It could be that you have new services or topics that your clients are not aware of. It can also be difficult subjects or hard to find information. You see fact sheets a lot of times in doctor's offices. You might go to a dermatologist and they show a picture of, you know, a mole or something like that that might be troublesome, and so it might be, you know, a difficult subject, for example. And usually, so as far as like the length and the format, generally they might be one page, you know, the front of a page. Again, it may depend on the topic, however. They should be attractive in their purpose. So I guess if you look at a fact sheet that might be in a doctor's office, it does need to get your attention, but it might be on a tough subject. So first impression needs to be impactful. The format depends on the display. So if it's sitting in a half, so it's kind of like a little bank of like magazine rack appearance, and you only see the top half, you want to make sure that that top half stands out. Paper choice depends on the expected life. Newspapers are really wimpy, meant to be read once, thrown away. Brochures, usually they're on a shiny, that's the coated paper stock, and they're meant to last a little bit longer. You might find fact sheets on the nice shiny coated stock as well. Again, it kind of depends on its use and its expected life. The cost, so is it color? Again, paper might be expensive. Do you have to hire a professional to go out, you know, for real estate, take pictures? Do you even need a drone to have the, you know, drone shot from the top down, some things like that. And other types of uses, it could be a question answer format. So I don't think that would be appropriate for a real estate fact sheet, but for other types of fact sheets. You want to make sure the title is clearly displayed, identifies the information contained. Your target audience should be pretty clear as far as who your information is produced for. If the fact sheet is offering a service, then the client would be likely, you know, satisfied with the content within. There's information to contact, so sufficient information to take action, in other words. Attractive graphics, again, they should emphasize the message, relate, be relevant to the message, convey the information in a clear and concise manner, convey professionalism and confidence, motivate the reader to contact you, especially if it's something that's marketing related. I don't know if, again, for real estate, probably not a list of resources, but for other types of fact sheets, maybe there would be some references or resources to search outside of the information there. You might find instructions on how to. ACE has them probably more in a brochure format now, but there used to be a lot of like how to do some kind of simple things that were more in a fact sheet oriented document a while ago. Could be a testimonial added if you think that it's beneficial from a marketing position. And then again, make sure that all the relevant contact is included and then dated if that's important. And oftentimes for real estate, you do want to date it because somebody needs to know how long has this been on the market. Is this something that I picked up, happened to be thrown in the trash and from 2016, probably not still for sale. So that would be important. Okay, one example, so I've got a couple of examples. You're gonna find examples everywhere. And I'll Control Plus to get that a little bit bigger. So there's some filled boxes. So I'll have some information that I provide you. And I do recommend that you use my information, because if you go online and you start copying and pasting whatever somebody else has typed, there's typos out there. So I don't want you to copy and paste a typo. Anyway, the format, so they're using some good color combinations. So exterior, that's a little bit light, but it works okay. So they're repeating the kind of greenish color in multiple locations. The brown color is being repeated with the type. Quick little bulleted list of the exterior versus other information. Pretty easy to find Ken. There's some nice pictures, and again, you've got some kind of similar rectangular shapes that are used. And then a little bit more about, the realty group, basically. And pretty easy to read. So I would say that's a little bit of a business card type of format, if you think of it that way. And then another one, whoops, where did I go? I guess it went back, didn't it? Second one there. So this is a Keller Williams. These were just from online, so they're not Missoula. Kind of a rounded shape. Remember the effects. So in InDesign, I'll just create a plain document here. Remember object and then effects. So, or corner options, sorry about that. So there's corner options. So there's kind of those fun ones, but you can do rounded corner options on, or unique corner options if you want to, using the corner options function. And then also remember when you click and drag a box, so remember there's corner options available with the yellow slider. So that's how they did that. So again, they've got more roundness, repeating roundness types of shapes. This is much more business card looking. I'm going to ask you to have your picture added, so find a picture of yourself. So you're the realtor. And I've got the name of the realty company. You do not have to give me your phone number. You can use my information here. You've got your email, so that would be appropriate. This company is even you to use the scan codes. You don't need to do that, but if you feel pretty strongly about that, you can probably go borrow one somewhere. Anyway, so a little different format. Pictures, you still have a bulleted list, information that they think is important, the address, obviously, where it's at, Old City, Rattlesnake, South Hills, whatever. And notice that the price on either one, they never put a .00. So the cents don't matter when you're in the hundreds of thousands. So just do the, obviously, hundreds of thousands. This one thought taxes were important to add, and a condo fee. So depending upon what you find, you may have some other information that you need to add beyond what I've designated in my assignment. So we'll go back to Moodle, and I'll go ahead and open up the assignment sheet. So you work for a real estate company, and you're going to design an 8.5 by 11 inch one-page publication. Make sure that you don't do the facing, so check mark off that facing. Tall orientation. I would like a 2-column layout. So in some cases you will, use both of those columns, but not in all areas. Standard gutter is fine. Again, if you want to change that, you can. I'm guessing probably, just so that you have enough space, probably the 1/2 inch, so 3P0 margins all the way around. You work for a company called Montana Real Estate. The address is here, 1205 East Broadway. Your purpose is to attract attention and interest in a new Montana waterfront property listing with it's a great commission for you, okay? Use your real name as the realtor and think about who your target audience is. So you're selling Montana waterfront. You get to decide if I have waterfront in Helena on Canyon Ferry, or if I'm on the river, Clark Fork, Blackfoot, Bitterroot, something like that, or I'm Flathead Lake or Whitefish. You get to decide that, okay? But it is Montana, so you're not going to find oceanfront. We don't have any. Montana waterfront. Use the internet to locate what for you is an interesting property that is for sale in Montana, near or on water, and again, a lake, a river, a stream, your own little pond. You must use the description and fact sheets listed below, even though you're locating a sample property. So I know that if I have a description of a custom kitchen or a pantry, so you may not have a picture of a custom kitchen with a pantry, but we kind of have to assume. So you don't have to locate your property, the pictures of your property, based on my description, if that makes sense. I'm giving you descriptive content to help out with spelling, basically, and to make it, somewhat so that it's all-encompassing, I guess. You can make up or research additional information that you feel must be included on your product sheet. If you feel pretty strongly that proximity to schools, population, so if you're marketing to young families, schools probably are going to be really important. So you may choose to put that on there. Taxes, if you feel like you want to look up taxes on a piece of property and add that, you can. And additional research, again, may be necessary depending upon your property. So the grade for the fact sheet will be determined by overall document quality, completeness, and accuracy of information. Whether or not the fact sheet follows sound design principles, again, we'll think of contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity, and include required elements. Think about questions you would want answered if you're buying a home. So think of, put yourself in the shoes of a home buyer. I would create a folder, real estate assignment, real estate project, whatever you want to call it, and then put all of your pictures and anything that you locate, I would put it in that folder so that it's in a collected area. Use the internet to locate an interesting property. You can bookmark a few of them if you want to, but do try to record where you located that, maybe copy and paste the URL, for example, somewhere so that you can get back to it, or I can. Save at least 3 images. So my minimum is 3. You can add more if you have space and if you want to. The images you decide are, again, your own to select. Required page elements. So you have to have the property address on there. And you can use, so the property address I've actually given you is 8000 Clearview Drive. So you don't have to use whatever address you find, 8000 Clearview Drive. But if it's in Seeley Lake, I would like you to use Seeley Lake and look up the appropriate zip code. If it's in Polson, appropriate zip code. But the address, again, for typos, Clearview. Property description, I'll show you that in a minute. The property highlights, and then again, 3 images minimum. You place them where you want, how you want, you size them. You put them, proportion, proximity, alignment as you see fit. If you decide to create a stroke, make sure that it's consistent in color, size, style, And again, make sure that your images are proportionate. So you don't want to, it's easier with sizing now because it is proportionate automatically when you size things down, but you do want to make sure that they're proportionate. Make sure you have the price, and you'll find the price most likely. Multiple listing service number, you can use the one I have. You don't have to actually use their multiple listing number. Your contact information, so you work for Montana Real Estate, your name because you are the realtor. The contract address or contact address is the here, 1205 East Broadway, Missoula, Montana. I'd like an image of you, so place close to the contact information, kind of like a business card format. Proximity, remember, you next to contact. Use at least one color other than black. I'd like you to create either a custom, so rather than red, green, blue, or cyan, magenta, yellow, black, I'd like you to create a custom color. And you can use that from, the eyedropper and pick a color that's within one of your images. Select a good font, legible. You can use 2-3 fonts if you want, but again, look for repetition, consistency. And make sure that it sizes well for your headlines, your body type, if it's, the same one. And again, sometimes the headlines can be a different font and then body, different font. Edit leading so that your paragraph is readable. You may need to open up, type a little bit. Use spacing after between paragraphs. Remember, one enter key between paragraphs, but open it up a little bit. Use kerning when necessary. So if you create, a really large heading, for example, and 2 letters are squished really close together, you want to Alt, remember the Alt manual kern, right arrow key to maybe increase that a little bit. The paragraph styles and the character styles, you don't have to create styles. I would just like you to use the paragraph format and character format, and you're going to anyway. So, but don't worry about creating styles. The color, so you'll create your custom color. Bullet content, I'll talk about that in just a minute. Remember that bullets, so there's a bullet, let's see here. Type and then bullets and numbered lists. So apply bullets is there. I don't know that that's something we've seen yet in this application. We've seen glyphs. If you feel like you want to use a glyph rather than a bullet, you can, but bullets are here. Okay. And also remember that tabs and indents control your bullets. Remember the excerpts from a dog, how we played with the different bullet and indent styles and on a ruler bar to move those around. Thread any text boxes that move one to the next. So for example, if you have a whole bunch of bullet items and it's really all one, but they thread box to box, make sure that you thread them because any formatting that you apply needs to thread through and affect the whole thing. Remember object text frame options. So here, and I don't have anything selected for text frame options, but remember if you have a box around something and you need to push type away from the edge of the box, that's that inset spacing, okay? So I'm just reminding you of what to look for. Remember object arrange. Some students like to stack their pictures, so they might overlap them slightly. And object arrange lets you pick the one that you want in front, the next one, the next one. Remember to spell check and proofread, even though I'm giving you type, so you don't have to type very much of it yourself. Be sure that you spell and proofread. Create a box for the current date. Again, a reader should know that this is a current posting, not an old real estate flyer off the market. Page should appear balanced, consistent, unified, attractive overall. In addition to the above instructions, so you can add lines or rules. You can use tables or boxes or borders, circles, change the font size and the style, add bullets, as you believe enhances the document. Repeating that color swatch, again, is a good idea. Remember unity and rhythm, so repetition. You may use Photoshop if you want to, if you feel like you need to enhance an image or remove something, I don't know, layer them somehow. You can add more information about the property and the community, again, if you feel like it, like recently updated, energy efficient, close to the schools, I don't know. So the required information, you need the property address, basic property description, the price, multiple listing service number. Multiple listing service number, if it's listed with on a multiple listing agency contract, there's a number attached to a house, and that's what the multiple listing number is. A graphic, 3 graphics of the property, picture of you with business contact. So the address itself is 8000 Clearview Drive. You fill in the city, Montana, and then the zip code. The property description is enjoy sweeping views of Canyon Ferry. So you are going to use that. There is an extra space, so I did double space those so that you're sure that that's like 2 separate little paragraphs. You can place them together, you can pull them apart, but I don't leave that extra little enter key in there. So whatever you do, remember it should be 1 enter key and then your space expanded. I've got lots of highlights for the house. So all these, and be sure to, like if you're, I think they're all okay. Sometimes I have students capitalize things kind of weird, like master bedroom or kitchen, I don't know, fire pit. So you don't have to retype that, but I don't know why sometimes. So if you're looking at capitalization, I guess be consistent with that. I'd like you to use in a column format here. This would be a good place to add more if you come up with something else. The price, you'll look that up and fill it in. Again, don't do cents. Just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the multiple listing number. And then, you know, call for more. And you with Montana Realty or real estate company, there you are. You can use that number. And then your U Montana with an image. And I would, again, so think about where your image should be in relation to the contact information. And then you also need to have current date. So the format here doesn't have to be, the first thing I do is list this. The second thing I do is, so this is all the information you need in here. You just have to assemble it all in an attractive and legible format. Okay? So that's the assignment. Any questions on it? Otherwise, you can go ahead and go to work. Okay?